YouTube? It's your boy Sanchez 405 coming at you. It's on the warpath. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime there's new content posted to the channel. As always, like, comment, share this video out if you can. I greatly appreciate it because y'all, today we have the one, the only, that he's a 76 Rose Bowl champion, a Super Bowl champion for our Washington team, Mr. Rick Doc Walker. And Doc, it is a pleasure to have you on here this evening. How have you been?
Been good, man. Just dealing with the pandemic, the snow, shoveling, doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I know that's right. I live down here in the mountains, so I've had to deal with a little bit. We've had 50-degree weather so far, so not that bad. But I think I got you on a good day. I don't know if you've already seen. We'll just jump right into it. The Alex Smith GQ interview, and it looks like he had some choice words, maybe, or some coarse words, pretty much for the team, saying nobody really believed in him after coming off that gruesome injury. So I'll take it from that. You were there that day. He injured himself on the field up there, FedEx Field. So first question is, what did you think? What was going through your head when that happened? And then second of all, if you've read these comments, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, having been there with Joe Theismann's injury, it reminded me of Joe T's in '85. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And then to hear about the multitude of surgeries and the infections and things that went on with Alex, then to see him go down to Pendleton and then engage with our military forces, and people had gone through IED explosions and things of that nature, I knew it was really serious. And this dude is such a warrior. It's been such a good story to watch a guy that I would love to see him just be able to play the rest of his life with his family and his kids. But that's not who he is. He's a warrior. And he's going to go all the way until there's no gas in his tank. He's got a lot of gas in his tank. And now, with the idea of putting 3 or 4 or 5 months of healing and training towards that, and I think he was 5-1, 5-2 or so with the leg. I can only imagine him getting better. I didn't foresee him wanting to call it quits, but I can understand the doubt that people had. They were protective. I think it was more out of love than spite, and you just got to deal with it.
Yeah, a lot of people have been thinking about Alex not being able to play in that playoff game because of the injury that kind of happened in Arizona there, and when they played San Francisco. So basically our thinking is everybody, it's like every quarterback that's out there, it's kind of like the stock market in GameStop. Pretty much everybody's stock has risen up. So as far as the quarterback situation goes, do you think Alex is going to be here? Do you have any inkling towards that coming to the 2021 season?
No, I like my role as analyst. That means that I don't even have to get involved until the game starts and then evaluate what I see. I'm not a fortune teller. Not in the front office. They just brought over Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, Polian. They have really fortified themselves with a brain trust that is far greater than it was a year ago. So I would imagine now that they've gotten their sea legs, and once COVID-19 gives them a little expansion, that they're going to be even better. They won the division under these circumstances. So I think, as I've said over and over, the program is doing this, and I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You mentioned talking about this program, new folks in various roles there. And at the top, it was led last January with Ron Rivera, who actually sat down with Joe Gibbs during the interview process. He met down there with him in Charlotte and everything. And I think the big thing about being a head coach in the NFL, I don't think every coordinator understands that. You more have to be, I feel like you have to be a leader of men, first of all, and then the football thing, it's important. Knowing football is important, of course, but I think that key thing is leadership. And I know you may not have had a lot of time to interact with Coach Rivera because of COVID and everything, but are there some similarities in there that kind of are like Gibbs-esque that you're like, this is kind of what I saw in Coach during my time here.
I wouldn't be able to evaluate that. I haven't been around him at all. So all I can say is that Ron had a track record before he got here. He has a resume. So his work is there. You can see it. Now he's got a whole new circumstance. And, I would expect the similar results to what he's had. He didn't just start learning how to coach. And it's about not only Ron, but his coaching staff, where he impressed me with, because I saw guys get better. His only Achilles heel was he was grooming a young coordinator. And Coach Turner showed his level of involved as well. So he's got a plan. He knows what he wants to do. You got to learn his personnel. I'm an O-line, D-line guy. So to me, everything starts and finishes up front. The reason we lost to Tampa is because we could not stop the run and we could not run the ball. So I don't care what they do. As long as if they don't address those issues, you can never succeed and get to the promised land. But if they work on the premise, and they've got some good young talent, and they've got stud at right tackle, they got to make a right guard rather. They got to make a decision on. But to me, everything with pro football and college football and high school football goes from tight end to tackle, and from defensive end to defensive end, and all the rest of that stuff. You can fill it in as you please. But if you can't do it there, you won't be in the final game. I can promise you that.
Yeah, we saw that domination in the Super Bowl with that assembly of defensive line that Tampa Bay put on Patrick Mahomes and company, and they took advantage of a shambled offensive line with the Chiefs. And you brought up Big 75 there. He's due a payday, and the biggest question was his durability. And now it seems like a lot of people have changed his tone now, since he's the first Washington player to get an all-pro selection since, I believe, Matt Turk back in '96. And I think they've kind of flipped the switch from Callahan last year to now having John Matsko. Talk about what you've seen out of that offense line with dudes really that aren't really brand names. They're more of the great value brand type guys.
Well, he got them to play. And if there was an assistant coach of the year on this team, it would have to be him, in my opinion, because you look at Lucas, comes out from Chicago Bears, played his butt off at the tackle position. They were able to get guys that come in that hadn't necessarily played a lot, but had been in the league, and they were able to adapt. I just think that the offensive line, I was proud of them, man. That left side really stood up and surprised a lot of people. You got Mo at the right tackle. He's a stalwart. This guy's got a lot of pride. I don't think he had an offseason surgery, which is going to help him even get better and better. And so, again, I'm O-line, D-line guy, and if they address that, I love them to death. If they don't, I'll just have to pray for them.
And you brought up Morgan Moses right there, and I although Sheriff got the accolades and everything, I thought Morgan Moses he had the better season, and I thought he had the best season of his career. He cut down on the penalties as far as false starts, holding goes. You speak a little bit about that and kind of the improvement we saw out of Morgan Moses in 2020.
Yeah, he did what he had to do. I mean, he's evolving. When you play next to Big Nasty, that is a big advantage because Sheriff is a beast. I'm not necessarily convinced that this offense puts him in the best light. He's one of the best guys in open field steamrolling people I've seen. And but they don't do a lot of that now. So I think he's in a transition. Coach Turner is learning his personnel. I think if you look at the Dallas game that they won up in Dallas, they pulverized them, and sometimes you keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And if I'm bigger and stronger than you, it's over. Yeah, I'm not trying to be innovative when I can brutalize you. And so, I think it's a maturation process. And but I like what happened up front with the O-line. I think they can get better. You're going to get some guys that I think have high promise. And now we got to find out if they can play. And so they convinced me. He sold me. Del Rio sold me defensively. He got guys to buy it, and he met them halfway. And so I don't know if it was a warm and fuzzy relationship in the beginning, but I know in the end there was a level of respect. And if you look at, what some of the surprises in the secondary and what they were able to come up with, wow. That's what I'm saying. But the linebacker position, you got to upgrade.
Yep.
The thing that Tampa killed everybody at 45 is an animal, and they had two of them. And so they had pressure and they had ability to stop the run with their linebackers and their big defensive front, which mirrors our front. So what we got to do, I think you will see them go pretty high at a linebacker position. We don't know what's going to happen. We've got 4 guys coming off injuries that if they heal and come back could be a huge asset because all of them can play. But they got nicked, and now you get a chance to get them back. Would be Harmon at wide receiver. You got 22 coming back at safety. You look at Collins coming back. So you got some elite talent. Now, are they healed? Do they have OTAs? Will they be able to get that mesh of actually working together? Everybody had the same problem. It's not like they were handicapped. They were handicapped like everybody else.
Right.
They did a marvelous job with COVID-19. They ought to be commended on how they handled that. They had one infraction, that kid, Ioannidis, who was on IR. So give them credit for running a business-type organization that had checks and balances. And, man, that is super. So I think we've moved up. We've elevated. And now it's time to get some young kids in here. I'm not a fan of anybody over 23. I want young, aggressive people. Yeah, because I'm not buying that what you used to do and how you used to do it.
Right. Because
you got to keep this under the cap. Eventually, those number ones you have on that D line are going to all want to eat. They're going to all want to get paid. And you can't pay everybody in the National Football League. That's why you got to get young talent that comes up like Cameron Curl is a perfect example. Those are the guys that made our teams in the 80s. It wasn't all about the Heisman Trophy winners and all that. It was about guys that were grit tough. They wanted to prove a point. They were very well coached under Joe Gibbs and staff. And that's how you elevated that great run. Now to create that run again, you follow that blueprint, I guarantee it'll work.
Yeah, I mean, you got that physical team. And honestly, you look at the last 2 playoff runs that Washington had in 15 and then in 2012. I didn't feel like I didn't feel this hopeful because the team was kind of old, especially defensively. We were always slow, it seemed like, but we got faster this past season in 2020. But 2012, 2015, it was just like, But this year, a worse record than those previous 2 years. It seems like it just seems like they're on the right direction and they haven't really deviated. And I know it's February going into March, but right now it seems like they're locked up and keeping everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, it is. Now you got to get better.
Mm-hmm.
You got to add 10, 12 guys to your mix. Keep building your practice squads. Keep leveling the level of competition at each position. On a team that, lost to the Giants twice is in no position to be patting itself on the back. You got your teeth kicked in the playoff game. That's the way I want to look at it. It was great, but you didn't win. You didn't get to the Super Bowl. So all the pats on the back, that's great. Now that's over. Now you got to get back in the gym and figure this thing out, how you can do what Tampa did.
Mm-hmm.
You can be as competitive, as the Green Bay Packers. Or if you go to the AFC, it's murderer's row.
Right.
The Buffalo Bills are my favorite model of what they've done. And consequently, that young man was under Ron Rivera. So you can see that's one thing Ron's got a feather in his cap in that a lot of guys can build programs, they don't create offspring. It doesn't work. Well, McDermott's a prime example, of that. So I really believe that Ron and his staff and now the football side of the building is moving full steam ahead.
Yeah. Football, you always talked about football people making football decisions, not about the fodder, not about everything else. That you need to be about winning games, and that really took a turn there this season. And you mentioned something about getting the linebackers, I know you're a big guy on who's not on the field. It's about who's on the field and playing.
Yeah.
we talk about the playoff game. Heineke had a great game, but their key linebacker was out, who locked it down throughout the playoffs. So you've got a head coach who's a former linebacker, defensive coordinator that's a former linebacker, pretty good linebackers at that too. You got to get your quarterback of the defense here in 2019, whether it's 2021, whether it's via the draft, whether it's via free agency.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it'll just get better. And the guys they had this year will get better as well. That's what you want, competition. You get competition, may the best man win.
So I'm gonna circle back to the quarterback topic and kind of talk there a little bit. Now there's been a lot of rumors. Jerry might not be able to pay Dak. There's been talk about Deshaun Watson in Houston, maybe trading for Derek Carr, waiting for Mariota, or even trading for Darnold. I don't know. Do you have somebody who's like, I can deal with that guy, or let's just work with what's in house? What are your thoughts on that?
Doesn't matter to me at all. Not one bit. I told you, I'm an analyst.
Yep.
That's their job. They got to go get somebody there. I support whoever they have,
right?
Because what it comes down to it is that you can have Joe Namath at quarterback. You can't protect him, and you can't get some receivers to get open, and you can't stop people from running the ball on you. It don't matter. It don't matter.
That's
so
fair.
They've got 2 young guys coming back. 3, really. They got a guy that have won with, an Alex Smith. You got Heineke, who flashed. And you got Allen, you know what I mean, who flashed as well. I want to see us keep getting better, keep building a program. And if you can land somebody, 3rd or 4th round, that their staff has evaluated as the guy that can compete with that group, then you do it. But you don't just do it to do it. You know, because a lot has to do with team chemistry. These guys play for Alex Smith. You saw how they rallied around Heineke. And Allen was making plays. So I want my chemistry to stay intact as well. When you bring another quarterback, you bring in another CEO of a company. It's hard to bring a guy outside who doesn't know anybody and then say, oh, by the way, you're in charge. That's what we've done too much of in the past. You know, but if they got a guy that they've got a relationship with, if they think whomever it is, Cam, whomever, if they decide that's it, I back them. Now you got to make it work.
Right. So in talking about the season, I know during the season it was very frustrating the first half of the season and everything. But when do you think the light turned on for this team and they got it kicked in gear? When was there a moment that stuck out to you and like these cats actually get it?
Well, they're able to pressure the quarterback, but they weren't scoring points. They were down 17-0 3 or 4 weeks in a row. You know, they were slow starters. And so you got to come out that locker room on fire. And we can't give up the big play. They corrected a lot of their wrongs. And in December, where you're matched, everything you do in OTAs and training camp, it all comes about in December. And they were good in December. Ron Rivera has a history of his teams finishing strong. And that's knowing how to lead and how to get people in the right direction. So to me, if he could do that fighting cancer, now that he's cancer-free, Katie bar the door. I'm expecting him. And then he'll have less responsibilities. So give him less to worry about and more to focus in on the things that he does, and that is run the entire program. I just don't know how that can lose. I mean, other catastrophic injuries, they stay healthy. The training department deserves a lot of credit. We went from being a MASH unit to where guys were on the field. And then you got the special guys, Terry McLaurin, who played hurt at the end, but he never, ever didn't show up. Now we got to get guys to get better. Our wide receivers, Harmon, I love Harmon. He's coming back. Been watching him training here on the offseason. And then, you know, I'm sure there's somebody out there with some credentials that they may lure here as well. But whomever it is, make it competitive. Don't give anybody anything.
And that seems like that has been the theme here. I feel like in previous years, there's a lot of excuses. There's about a lot of if, ands, and buts, and the old adages. If and ands are candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But this year, it seems like it was no excuse. I know there was jokes about late night with Ron, but once he cleared up the cancer and everything like that, he was all set. I kind of wanted to touch base. I got a couple of things here in the news that came out, and they were talking about the front office and everything like that. How do you like this shakeup? Do you know any of these guys? Have you ever had a chance to meet and talk with these guys, from Herney to Polian and Martin Mayhew?
Well, I've got history with Mayhew and Marty, of course. Marty covered our teams, and also as a member of the media. And he was in San Diego and then Carolina as he went. So Super Bowls, seeing him. Martin, that's my guy, man. Very happy, for him. And I think that you get good people who have a vested interest in burgundy and gold football. And both of those guys have that. Polian, track record. He's a gym rat. I love guys that grow up in it. He's fortunate to grow up in this industry. So I like that because it's all about experience. And the guys develop things. He's seen a lot. It's just like with Turner. I mean, when your old man's North, you can't grow up on this stuff, man. It's like it's like the Thompson. I got to work with the great John Thompson for 12 years. And, seeing both his kids excel at a sport, they've been watching film since they were 6 and 7 years old. And they both had great careers, on and off the court. So I like guys. People talk nepotism. I don't care what it is. Give me experts. Now, can they throw the egos in the glove box and go in the building and go, Spurgeon and go first? Whatever the football team needs first. It's not about who gets credit. It's that we kiss the Lombardi. If they can stay on track with that, we win.
Yeah. And also in other news, the announcement is coming in 2022 of the team's new name. So I'll ask you a two-part question here. Thoughts on, like, what were your thoughts back in July when the name was going to go away, and what do you think of the what do you think, or do you have a favorite of yours that you want the team to be called?
Yeah, the Washington football team is fine. I mean, because if they win, it don't matter.
Right.
Man, that's all merchandising and revenue. And I'm not against it.
Right.
They can do whatever they want to do with that. Long as they don't change those colors, I'm good with it. Because to me, it's always burgundy and gold. So Alabama Crimson Tide, I'm going, Fighting Irish. Why do we have to have a name then? I mean, they don't. They got an elephant as I didn't even know what the hell the elephant mean to Alabama. It don't mean. Here's what it means: they're kicking your behind almost every Saturday. So
that's right.
That name thing to me, I understand it from a revenue standpoint. I'm a marketing guy. I get it, but it ain't what drives me. What drives me is that we block and tackle well. We do not turn the ball over, and we're great on special teams. If we do that, the name will take care of itself.
My goodness. And we'll get everybody on the bandwagon here. So before I wrap up, I did a little history searching on you and everything. And I did not know Dick Vermeil was your head coach when y'all won the Rose Bowl. I did not know that. So I thought that was pretty cool because you've had to work with some pretty impeccable guys between Coach Vermeil and Coach Gibbs. What was that like playing under Coach Vermeil out there when you were in college?
It was the most intense thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, Dick taught us how to win and to not celebrate being in the Rose Bowl. You can only celebrate if you win it. You can't celebrate just because you're playing against USC. You have to beat them. It's about to beat everybody. And if somebody gets you, you come back and you knock them out. And so the Bruins and what we developed, on that 76 Rose Bowl team, beating the undefeated Ohio State, in the Rose Bowl, that's what it's all about. High school, Dick Hill and the mighty Staten Valley Falcons. It's when you win. I won at 13. I was 1 at 12 and 11, but I was undefeated at 13. Once you've been around people who know how to lead and gear you in the right directions to win, you got to learn it. It's a science. It doesn't happen just because you have money. It doesn't happen just because you're drafted high. That's all irrelevant. What happens is that you get guys like Otis Wansley on your team, and you get guys like Mike Nelms and, and Mark May and Joe Jacoby and Jeff Bostic and Donnie Warren, Clint Didier. I can go Anthony Jones. I can go on and on and on.
Right.
How you win. The schemes are great. Joe's the best guy in terms of schematics I've ever seen in my life. So always felt by 11 o'clock on Wednesday or Thursday, the only way we lose is if we blow it, because he was that good at what he did. Then also at halftime, he was a genius. And so even though we were down, we trailed at half, we won most of those games. So it speaks for itself.
Right.
And so I'm going, I played with Darryl Green maybe 2 seasons or 3. I think we were 36-4. These runs are Patriot-like runs.
Right.
This is what Joe did, and it carried on, And I think in order to get back to that, I understand these formulas. And in every formula, you outwork your opponent. You're smarter than the people that you play, and you love the guys you work with. And if you do that, you're hard to beat. And I think these young guys they have, by having that captain's C, on your pass rusher and Chase Young, that's evolution, man. That's a guy that's not just geared on getting sacks. He's geared on winning the game, and that's the difference. We get a lot of sack masters, but seldom when you get a guy that is a leader that's got his hand in the dirt.
Right.
And that's what I love. I like all my captains to have their hand in the dirt. Yeah, I mean, because that's where the game is won and lost.
Right.
It's on the interior. And so, I love that.
About Coach Gibbs and Sheehan, he kind of talked about like how Coach Gibbs was kind of like all shucks in the media and everything like that. Tell me, like, when you were playing with Coach Gibbs, tell me one of your, like, the story that was like, whoa, coach is on us right now. Like, just take us through like one of those moments that you can recall that just sticks out in your memory.
All of our stuff is classified, number one. Second of all, he did what he had to do. The Philadelphia game comes out where he slammed the blackboard and said, gosh darn it, which for him was profanity. And he kicked over a bowl of oranges, and we won the game. So he knew how to get his point across. It's the way we practice, man. I mean, we had live 5 plays, live goal line, 907 was live. Way we practice, man. Now the rules have changed.
Right.
I'm not down on this. CTE is real. I get it. I hate the way guys are getting thrown out of college football games for football hits. There are a lot of things I don't like about it. Everybody in my generation is going to feel that same. It's just like going from gasoline to electric cars. It's a process.
Yeah.
And eventually we may all be electric. But it's for all guys like me, guys that are long in the tooth, football was completely different. This young group is just as tough. They just have different rules to abide by. And the only way to get to the Super Bowl is to abide by those rules. And so painful as it is for me to, express it, I got to buy into it.
Yeah, I heard that. I call high school football locally down here, and a kid was flagged for hurdling. And it pretty much cost them the game. So I hate to put that to burn that on you right there, but
but if you have kids who play, I have 3 kids who played. 2 of them played through college at University of Maryland, and when you're in the stands and they pull a stretcher out there and you see your kid on it. So all this is good. What they're doing, they're doing it the way. But I know that the Ravens and the Seahawks, in particular, I guarantee you, and the Patriots, they playing on a different they got a different guidebook.
Right.
And I'm telling you, and you have to come out that way. It's about being physical. Todd Bowles and his defense at Tampa, man, I tell you what, they don't look like they have a lot of padless practices. I'm telling you, they bring it. And so it can be done. There are teams that are still extremely physical in their approach to the game. And they do it the right way. So it's possible. And that's why I believe that the guys we have in our secondary, they come after you. Yeah. And I hope they continue to do that the right way. And, Tampa, it was 90 yards the Kansas City Chiefs gave up in penalties second quarter. You can't give Tom Brady 90 yards worth of real estate. Game over.
That's it.
Game over. So you got to play smart, and we have to abide by the rules.
Yep. And I mentioned University of Maryland, and I was looking through the annals, and I actually found the infamous 2007 Maryland at NC State. And I didn't realize this when I was looking at the video today, that you were on the call when one Ron Cherry made the giving them the business call. What did you think about that when he called? Like, what was going through your mind?
Oh man, we just had I enjoyed myself immensely. 14 years doing ACC football, and I'll tell you what, I live for Saturdays, man.
Yes.
It is. High school's my favorite, then college, and then pros. I mean, it's just there's just nothing like it when you go to the places that really respect and love the game and have great tradition. It's crazy. I was there for that West Virginia Clemson brawl that we did.
Oh man!
I mean, I saw some things. Man, I'm glad Mac Brown is back in Carolina. See, that's why special people do special things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The moment he comes back, Carolina wins again. So, I mean, I know it's not a one-man deal, but what Coach Brown, he knows how to win. And it doesn't matter where he's at. He understands the formula, and he gets people to buy into it. And you got to be able to recruit and then run your program the right way. And so I love seeing it. But what, Dabo's doing, and I saw him in the beginning. So I had meetings with him, and he talked about his vision. He did every single thing he said he was going to do. And they got those great backers down there at Clemson, the boosters. But everybody's got boosters. Right. But not everybody knows how to build it the right way. So it's no surprise to me that the Tigers right now, are sitting there flexing, on top of the hill. And so, and they're on the hill. And that hill has a couple of people that are always knocking at that door. So when you build that elite deal with the Alabamas, the Ohio States, if you look at what Georgia, has done, Florida is leaping. The people that are emerging and they're going after it, and it's kind of getting real interesting again. Hopefully, if we're blessed and we can deal with COVID-19, and when we add the fans back, I mean, they're doing this without fans.
Yeah.
Now, you can do it because all your practices, there's no fans. We have scrimmages, no fans. Football, you can get through it. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing like it when you hear that drum beating again and you hear people screaming and hollering and you know that it matters. And, game day is at your campus. And it's just when you've been through that and you've been on that bus and you come there and you see it, man, it's so exciting. And so I'm pulling for them.
I mean, hey, if you ever go down to Clemson, let me know. I'll meet you at the SO Club and down there. That's one of my favorites.
I miss my days, man.
Sure.
Seeing the rock, tapping that rock. I tell you what, man. The Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
They give a prayer. They get it. They get it. They really get it. And that's why now they are premier.
I will, and I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna leave it with a quote from you that would get me pumped every morning when I listen to you on the radio. Impose your will on another man, go into his house, take the food off his plate, and eat right in front of him. And
belch.
And belch. Okay.
And belch.
All right.
And
so do I keep my shoes on, or do I track the mud up in there too?
No, you don't take the mud in. We've been raised well.
Right.
So you take shoes off. We go in there. I'm telling you, man, I know it's funny.
Yeah.
But the mindset that you have to get into to go out and compete with these people, many of them bigger and stronger and faster than you are, you have to find a way to get the job done. And there's no better feeling to go in there with guys that you've been battling with for six months that you care about, and if you got a double team block or you got a slip block or you got to get 18 yards and out, you got to get 18 yards and out for a reason. And everything matters. And so when you get guys that are intelligent and understand the game and they got a little pepper in their grits, you got a chance to win.
There you go. Doc, I appreciate you so much, sir, for coming on here, being patient with me. I think I got you at 3 different angles on email and Twitter. Do you have any? I know you're doing the legacy right now with the team and everything, hosting that with some of the legends. But do you have any other projects, and where can people find you at? I know it's not too hard.
I've got 6 more to go for the season.
Okay,
we're working on that. And I'm having a ball with that because our fan base, they understand it. And what we're trying to do in the old school and the new school and combine so people understand our rich history. And our fan base is so diverse. And, there are a lot of people older than me that still bleed burgundy and gold. And we got a terrific young group of people following this team right now. I've got 3 millennials. They've never really seen them win, but yet they still bleed burgundy and gold.
Yeah.
And these people, when it happens again, it's going to be just like when the Capitals won and when the Nationals won. And I'll never forget being down for those parades and all I was sitting there just seething, thinking, I cannot wait. And that's what I got to see before I get back in my submarine and go back under. I got to have another parade. I got to see us celebrate burgundy and gold football team, the Washington football team celebrating being world champions. And that to me is the only goal that's there. And so that's my quest.
And I'll share this one with you. My grandfather was a huge Redskins fan. That's where I came from, Washington. And I'll never forget in 2014, that was his last day on this earth when Colt McCoy and company went and beat Dallas down there. No odds or anything like that. And it's moments like that you talk about that make it so enriching for me as a young fan. I just turned 30 last year. And so I mean, it's fun to live it through them and hear it and hear the stories, and why I kind of flock to you all on the radio, because it's no nonsense. It's not sugarcoating it. It's about getting it done. How you get the job done. It's a right way to win. Ron said it the best. Now they're learning how to win. Where they're winning now let's apply this and get this job done. And we're going to go out there in DC and act a straight up fool.
Well, the beauty about radio and all of our formats are that you get to pick and choose.
Yep.
Wouldn't you hate it if you had to listen to just one particular view? I love the fact people pick and choose. It's not for everybody. I don't expect it to be. Because so few people really understand what it takes. Mm-hmm. So by sharing it with them, if they get it, they get it. If they don't get it, they got to move on. I'm not changing because I know what it takes. And I'm not going to get into a debate with somebody that's sitting there, with a Budweiser on their big ass belly trying to tell me something about football. Now, that don't fly. Flip your channel, go somewhere else or whatever. I'll find an audience, and there are enough people that get it. I'll have no problems.
Yes, sir. It's like the Washington Post. If you don't get it, you don't get it.
You don't get it. Yeah.
Doc Walker, sir, I appreciate you so much. And like you call everybody on here, Brother Doc, as he calls everybody else. Thanks again, and everybody, love, peace, and hell. I'll be talking to you real soon. We're out.
Yes, sir.